about home. They're married to real estate.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast for people who love real estate and want to become inspired and informed. Whether you are a newbie real estate agent looking to get tips, learn a thing or two, or maybe you're a savvy property owner who wants to get a jump on the market, this is the place for you. We discuss our passion for real estate and people, and we bring together our personal experiences as well as our guests to learn from each other. You'll hear from experts in sales coaching, real estate law, mortgage lending, investing, and many local business owners on how to grow your business or your investment in real estate. I'm Mairi McCauley.
I'm Mairi Elliot.
I'm Mary Forster.
And we are
Married to Real Estate.
Hey guys, it's Mary, back with the Marys.
Hi, Mary. Hello, everyone.
It's been a while, Mary.
Yeah, it
I know,
has
Mary.
been a while. I had the worst laryngitis. I can't remember having laryngitis for over a week, but it was really serious and I could not talk, get out a sound.
How frustrating.
It was frustrating for me and glorious for my family.
But they love you and
They
they're glad
love
you're
me.
back and healthy.
They got really good at mom sign language during that time. But yeah, they're glad I'm back to tell them that they haven't done their homework and they need to get it done. Yeah.
Or I'm sure, you have the mom look, so you've perfected that even more.
I
right?
can communicate a lot with just my face.
Yeah.
I've come to find out. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I kind of guess I always knew that. But yes, so I am back and I'm healthy and we're out of winter. So snow is no longer stopping us from coming into the studio, which was an issue a couple times.
Many
as well.
a Friday blizzard.
Yeah,
which was
Every
really,
Friday it happened.
It was crazy, right?
Yes.
So once we're bigger than this, I will put a studio in my house, so this will never happen
good.
to us again.
Okay.
And then you guys just sleep over the night before a storm, and we'll do it that way. Cool.
That sounds fun.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
Who has
I'm
to
ready.
feed the goats?
We can rotate.
That's what children are for.
That is, yeah,
Farm
not.
hands in training.
It's so funny how my kids do not participate with the goats. I thought they would be all in on that, and part of acquiring goats was for the mental health of my children, and really it's just my husband and I that go and cuddle those goats and talk to them like they're humans and have conversations and feed them, and everybody else is just, all right, how are the goats today? I'm like, go check on them. They're adorable. They're so good.
Mommy, can I have a puppy? I'll
Right.
walk it every day. I'll take
Right.
good care of it every day.
Yeah, no.
What puppy?
What puppy?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's happening with the kitten currently. She's almost a year old and she's lost her luster to the
Yes.
kitten acquirer. So we are doing an episode just the three of us today, and I'm so happy to do that because we needed to catch up on a bunch of things. And spring market is upon us in real estate, and so I thought it would be a good time for us to talk about what's going on for spring and what that means in the real estate market. Because you hear real estate agents talk about the spring market, and you won't see me until September kind of thing in the real estate world. So what does that typically mean for you guys in your past, in your careers? Mary, I know I've heard you say that before,
Right, right.
head down in Virginia, you just were not available to do anything.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's, traditionally, it had been a fall market and a spring market. And because people love to do photographs around all the beautiful flowers, the azaleas, the dogwoods, et cetera, can we just wait until all my flowers come
Yes.
out? Now, there was a plus and minus to that, by the way. Then we got a little more aggressive and started, as soon as the snow kind of went away in Northern Virginia, we decided, okay, let's get ahead of the market. So the market kind of expanded,
Right.
And then I do remember in December people saying, if we put our house on the market right now, we'll be the only house on the market, and
Yep.
then we'll have all the attention of the serious people that are out there. So we've had many kind of expanses and shrinkings. Weather is usually the shrinker, and or COVID.
Yeah.
Well, although COVID just lessened the number. But anyway, so the spring market was house looks the best. Big transitions with families. They're going to be moving over the summer. Get my kids in school for next fall, or in Northern Virginia, my military transfer over the summer, that
Yeah.
type of thing. So that was a big impetus to like a spring market.
Right.
But then the last couple of years, of course, what we're seeing is
The rules are out the window.
the rules
Right.
are gone.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I wanted
so
to ask
spring
you,
market
Mary
starts
McCauley.
earlier. There's really there's a lot of blurred lines.
It is. Yep. It
and I
definitely
would
feels
say
that way.
we do pick up momentum because people are through the holidays or,
Yep.
and then they're like, oh, maybe I do want to move. When should I start? And then there's just a longer, slower sort of prep in some ways, just because I think, it's cold. Nobody wants a dumpster, and that kind of thing. So
Yep.
there's some of that waits. But in this environment, just from personally what I'm seeing, or professionally, or both, is
We'll get into that. in a
We'll get
moment.
there, yeah. into that.
We'll make a pitch,
But
Mary.
yes. Note to self, try to be a good client to yourself. But anyway, that is another conversation. But no, I mean, we've seen more inventory and more things out there right now. I mean, just because I am in the trenches on the buy side, but also, I had a bunch of, I had 3 listings in the
Yeah.
past 3 weeks go live, and 2 are under agreement, and 1 we just actually took off the market.
And were those people that were sort of thinking about listing for quite a while and then said, okay, now is the time to strike?
Yeah.
Or?
So what's interesting is the one in Pepperell, I had met with them last June.
Okay.
And so knew it was coming. They were waiting for where they were going to go, kind of a thing. And they were kind of waiting on a timeline. And then all of a sudden, we kind of shifted their thinking about what options maybe they should look in a wider scope, cast a wider net. They did. They fell in love. They were like, okay, how about tomorrow? Can we list the house? Right?
Because they were in love with the house they wanted to go
so
to.
now they couldn't waste any time.
Yep.
So it was it was a really cute ranch, and so there wasn't really much to do at all. And
You could just pop it on.
yeah,
and-
we gave it like a week.
Sure.
Before the photography, and it was on.
Yeah.
Right after that.
It
So
sold right away.
it did. We had multiple offers. All over asking. It's very interesting to be a buyer's agent and a list agent, and in that the things that you try to do to get your offer accepted on the buy side,
Right.
and then the things you're like, I wish they'd stop doing that on the list side.
And you're both.
Right, on both. So yeah, it's really like, ooh, right, ooh, yeah, right. The good,
love
the
it.
bad, and the ugly, right?
Yep.
But no, and then and then my other listing in Westford, I knew that was coming on. We were just waiting for some timing things.
Right. Okay.
And to get things cleared out and, a little bit.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Good. Really
yeah.
good.
Because that's what I have observed only coming into this when the rules have all been out the window, right? So
First COVID, and then now
Right.
just kind of this
Right.
crazy intensity. Yes.
exactly.
Right.
And so I've seen people saying they want to get ahead of the spring market or be at the end of the summer market when it's less people looking or less competition and all of that. So I've been in my head like, so what is the date that starts
Right now.
it? There, yeah,
Just
exactly.
do it now.
Yeah.
I think inventory's so low. Well, not so low. It's low, but it's a velocity
Fast.
issue. They go fly off the shelves. They're
Yep.
under agreement, and a lot of list agents are doing weird and different things. Like it comes on a showing start Tuesday with an open house
On
on
Saturday.
Sunday
Oh.
or Saturday or Sunday,
Right, right.
and they accept an offer on Wednesday.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right? So you don't even know. So then it's
Yep.
a frenzy. Get in, see it. You're in, you're
Harass
out.
the lister.
Right.
Get
Yes.
in, see it, decide if you
Right.
want an
Right now.
inspection or not.
Right.
And then,
Yeah. Right. I
It's
mean,
tough.
Right. And if you're going to close the appraisal gap, and what are you going to
Yep.
do there? And
Yep.
I,
Explain what that is for people who are listening,
Yeah.
closing the appraisal
to the
gap.
best I can, right? If the list price is $500 and you offer $550, and it appraises at $500, you have a $50,000 gap in the appraisal. It's what the lender hires, the buyer's lender hires an appraiser to come and make sure that they're making a good loan. So what they're telling you then is that the value of this home is $500 and not the $550 that you're going to pay. So
Right.
then if you don't have any cash, to make up the gap so that your loan to value on the lender side is still within their range in order to lend it to you,
Yep.
then, tough luck, basically.
or you can also, from what it's been explained to me, you can add a point or two to your mortgage to increase your payment over time, over the first year or two, to cover that gap. On some houses, I don't think it's all, and I think it depends on how large the gap is.
Right.
But yes, that is when people, you get an accepted offer, and then the appraisal comes in and it's $50,000 over. You just turn to your client and say, you got an extra $50,000 cash laying?
Well, or
hopefully you knew that anyway.
Well,
Right,
if you're putting
right.
20% down, you could take 15% of the 20 that you were going to put down, the cash, and then you restructure your loan.
Right.
If you're in that kind of position, so you really have to work with your lender to
Yes.
figure out, and then what does that do to your payments? Now you're only at 5%. So does that affect your rate? Does that
Yes.
affect your
Correct.
PMI? Does that,
Private
Right.
mortgage insurance, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of moving parts with that. And I do feel like a lot of agents, myself included, appraisal gap is kind of a newer terminology thing and something that, you can sweeten your offer with. But understanding it is another animal in that
is.
sense. And I mean, if you write an offer and you spell it out to an agent that you have $70,000 in cash
Yeah.
that you're putting towards the purchase of this home, they should be able to figure out that, an appraisal gap could be covered,
Would be covered. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's newer to just lay it out and say, hey, we'll cover the appraisal gap,
Right,
because
right.
they're so much more common.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
right. So now you need to spell it out in your offer, not in the, in order for it to even be considered with the other ones that are doing it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it gets complicated with home inspections as well, because we had a listing and we had a purchase in Dorchester where we forwent the home inspection. We expected the appraisal to fully meet everything. We found out that there was no knob and tube electrical in the house all the way through. So that meant the house couldn't be occupied in any way
Right.
until it was replaced. So we were able to go back to the seller and say, knob and tube is going to cost us $50,000. We had no home inspection, right? No home inspection contingency.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is we want to shorten the appraisal gap. And so we renegotiated the no appraisal contingency thing to cover, should the appraisal come in low, that we didn't get started. We didn't get hit with an appraisal gap. So
In
you can do
addition to-
kind of a whole lot of stuff.
So
Yeah.
in that case, their cash, instead of covering the gap, will go to replacing the knob and tube.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Mhm.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That's a good way. That was smart to
It's
work
so
that
creative.
out that way.
I mean,
yeah.
it's
Very
so
creative.
creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mary, what are interest rates looking like?
They're up.
They're-
They're up over 4, moving towards 5. I think the Fed came out and said they were going to raise them 10 times this year, and they've already raised it
Yep.
once
Yep.
or twice.
I think they said every 6 weeks, right, is what they're were proposing. At least
think
what
it's
I heard
changed,
on the news
yeah.
originally, but
Yeah.
it may
well,
have
that was
changed
before
since then.
Ukraine and some
right.
of that.
Yes.
Changed a
So
little bit. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. But we also have to put that in perspective, right? Yes, they're increasing. It's over 4.
Right.
It was not. It was 2.5 last year or
yes,
something
which
like
were
that.
incredible.
For
Which were
conventional.
still
insane.
historically low.
I was just getting there. It is still historically low. I'm sure each of us in this room has had a home mortgage over 5%
12,
in their
13, I
lives,
think,
you know.
I did my first home.
Exactly. Mine was somewhere between 10 and, I wish I could remember specifically, it was between 10 and 13 on my first house in Virginia. In 2000, how old is my son? In 2001, we bought that house. So yeah, it was very high and very different market than what we're looking at right now. So it's all about your perspective when you're going in, and people
That
are
is
like,
key.
"Oh gosh, they're creeping up, and I'm not gonna be able to get the house I want." Well, you are still in great shape. 4%, 4.5%, 5%, great shape.
The challenge is that house values are going up, and so that's a pressure. And then the interest rates are going up, and you're chasing the increased prices with
Right.
more expensive loan money. So that's kind of some of the pressure again. Again,
Right.
we're getting
and
to
your
an
buying
elite.
power can change
Yeah.
based
Yes.
on the rate and what your payment ends up to be in the end.
So unless you do a rate lock, which you can do, you can do them for 6 or 9 months. And I've had a lender tell me they can lock somebody for 12 months.
Without a contract?
Yes.
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 So get it locked. Get it if you're in the market for a year.
One, I think, is a little bit of a different animal.
Yeah.
There were a lot of restrictions with that, but
Correct.
A 60, 90, or 90-day lock, they are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, without a contract.
Without a
ratified contract.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about it and you're just sitting at home watching the rates increase, and you know by the end of the summer you're going to want to buy a house, talk to your mortgage lender, call them up, or call your favorite real estate agent and get a recommendation of who to talk to,
Yep.
so you can get your rate locked now if that's a concern of yours. If you're going to get kicked out of the category of homes that you want by a 1% increase between now and September, let's say, get locked now and then go shopping happily and know exactly what you can spend. That's my recommendation to all
Well,
of
and
you.
I think that's a good recommendation, but let me just,
Devil's advocate.
Sure.
No,
just
I'm only
tear it
saying
down
from
for a
personal,
moment.
no, from personal experience that 60 or 90-day period goes really, really fast.
It does.
Put in a lot of offers with
Yes.
a buyer who does have a rate locked, and it has just been, the beginning of May is when it's up.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
trying to get under contract
Before.
So
Yeah. That can
it
be-
does go quickly, and you want to take a break as a buyer. You can get burnt out.
Right.
And, don't.
Yeah, just pedal to the
Don't
metal.
waste any precious moments.
That's right. Use your agent to bare bones and get her out looking at every single house, or them out looking at every house, because you can do it. It just may be a little exhausting.
Right.
Yeah. So Mary McCauley, that brings me to you as a buyer.
Yes.
So our dear sweet Mary is looking for a house and is finding that she and her partner are difficult clients to work for.
Amazing how that happens.
I told you ladies that in confidence.
We're going to have Nick edit that out.
Oh, you're right. That was supposed to be in the vault. No.
But I think it's fun. I mean, I can relate to it
such an
as
exercise
Yes.
in compassion for your clients.
Right.
being a buyer out in the current environment. So I took a step and was like, ooh, okay.
Yes.
I have a greater level of patience for my clients. Not that I always consider myself patient.
That's why I want it.
But no, the perspective is just really, really funny, and we're joking, but sort of. But
No, we are joking because I mean, it's true that when you know specifically what your clients are going through, when you can walk it yourself, you do gain that perspective. And I think sometimes as agents we can get a little lost in that. Like, come on, let's just go. Like,
to
what's
us, it's
the
a
stress?
transaction.
Yeah.
We don't ever try to be that way, but
Sure.
just from transaction after transaction, But yes, a dentist would probably do his own cavity.
Correct.
And so,
That's
what I keep thinking.
I don't think so.
No, right?
Yeah.
Heart surgeon is not going to do that baby on himself, herself. But so it was just kind of a half kidding about it, but it's rough out there from personal experience. So
It is.
I mean, we've put a ton of offers in, and we're always one of 13, or we were one of 40.
Oh my goodness.
That they even took the offer. My gosh.
I know. Why don't you just say no?
Like, we have had enough offers. Thank you.
But
Wow.
it's funny too because we went to a bunch of open houses. I had a tiny window to rush through a bunch, and we went, we looked, and all right, out of the 4 that we saw, one we were like, all right, we can put an offer in on that one, and I was like, let's do it now, and Jimmy was like, well, let's wait a minute, let's talk about it when you get home, and when we looked at the pictures, there were no windows in the master bedroom.
So in Virginia, that might not be a bedroom, by the way.
No, but it opened up to like a loft space that had tons of skylights. It was beautiful and had French doors. But if you closed those at night and the one to the hallway, you were basically in a coffin.
In a cave.
That's all I can think about. Might have a little claustrophobia issues over here, but but I was like, yeah, we
can't do this. Yeah. But that's one of those sensitivities your client has that you need to be aware of when looking.
Exactly.
When I sold my house in Virginia just 5 years ago now, I used to tell my sellers, look, some of these discussions, some of these offers are going to really, raise your hackles. You are going to be really upset about this. Can you please just remember it's a business transaction and it's a negotiation. Well, let me tell you, when Mary and Carl sold their house, I can't go on about the agent on the other side. And in our brokerage, they didn't allow us to be the listing agent. So we had to have somebody else. So it's a 3 people in my office, huge office. And I tell you, I will never say that again, that this is a business transaction, to people, because
it's so hard.
It was so emotional. An inspector in there for 10 hours.
Oh my goodness.
10 hours. And I don't let me, it was just so painful, so painful.
I do.
My regret is that we didn't reject the home inspection report.
Right.
That was my regret.
Right.
So anyway,
it can be
never
complicated.
again. And the sensitivity, as Mary was just talking about, the sensitivity was worth just so much.
It's
so
been an
much.
eye-opening exercise as an agent, for sure.
It is, and it's good to remind us as agents, even when we aren't our own clients, that these are people with real hearts and real feelings, and they're making a huge life change, and you're there to softly guide them through it.
Which I think we all have that kind of compassion. I mean, I always say to my clients, you're going to be inviting me over for Thanksgiving because we're going to be that close, kind of a thing. And so I feel that way, and I go in it with that. But then I think you do enough business, and then you kind of.
I agree.
It was a good pull me back to the center.
No, it's just a good little reminder of like, oh yes, these are human beings. Yep. And I think all 3 of us and most agents in general, lead with their hearts, and that's what they're in the business for, is to be there to help people.
Families, right.
Exactly. But it's a very good reminder that, these little things that we would be counseling our clients if it wasn't us, like a long inspection, how does that feel to the homeowner? To have somebody going through their house with a fine-tooth comb and pointing out all of the problems.
There may be mold in the encasement under the addition, which is a crawl space separate from the house. There may be mold there. That'll be $3,000, and or $20,000, whatever they wanted. But it was, oh man. I saw red.
I get it. I get it.
Well, it feels like a personal assault.
Yes, it does. No, it really does feel like that. And that's what I'm getting at, is that the personal piece of it is good to be reminded of. And I'm sorry that you have tough clients right now, and it's hard to find them a house, but we will all help you find a house.
We'll help you, Mary.
Yeah, I know. So if you're out there, if you're out there and you have a house, let us know, because Mary's moving in.
Mary's moving. Mary's moving. Yep.
Yeah.
That's really great.
So I haven't updated you guys on what I was doing for the last couple of months during our winter hiatus-ish sort of that we had. I was going hard after a development builder. And I wanted to talk about why it's good that I didn't get that. And I mean mentally why it's good, because it would have been great for me to have been awarded this great job. It would have been somewhere over $22 million in volume on my accounting sheet. But what I did learn is that I can go after those things as a rookie and not be out of my league, and be able to just play with the big dogs and get in the same pool and be admired for the work that I did. And I'm back now that I'm not focused on just that piece of it. I was focused on one big project, and yes, doing some little side work and sort of justifying it to myself and calling it lead gen or client contact or whatever. But really, I was mostly thinking about this one project, and I got very blocked in that, and I wasn't connecting with you guys or with our office or any of that stuff. And it just was bringing me down as a human. I was not as well connected. And I have discovered almost immediately from getting a beautiful email from this builder saying, we love you. Here's the reason why we're going with the original person we've always worked with. That's not a terrible thing. They have a relationship longstanding with her, and I'm okay with that. But from that moment, I felt open again, and I could release this built up tension of, oh my God, I could be this big thing.
And taste it.
I could, taste it. But it was tension building, and it wasn't putting me in a great headspace. I thought it was, because the goal was big, and the goal would, lead to these
Bigger
things. Right. But it didn't do me justice mentally. So it's a good thing that I didn't get it.
Right. So at what cost would that have been personally for this big, boom?
Right. I think I
professional?
lost sight of who I am in general, how I wanted to run my business, and I got set on this one goal that would change the way my whole business
financially
functions.
It would have.
Financially, but just I would have had to focus on that one client
Right.
for 2 years, and put all these relationships that I've worked on for the last actually my whole life to develop to have as clients. I would have had to put that all on the side burner. And not the day after I got the rejection, I have clients texting me saying, okay, we're ready to list our house. And hey, can you come over and talk? And all of these things start popping again because my chakras were open. Or I don't know what it was.
It could be all that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I think, you were, like you said, you were almost relieved, you know, and yeah, I think there's a place for that in your career, but it's just the timing isn't now.
Right? It's not now, and I get to grow more and feel more comfortable, because part of the tension around that was, oh my gosh, I might really be over my head. I'm so scared. And,
we usually are.
I'm so scared.
Well, you can't grow if you don't get challenged.
Right,
either. So,
exactly.
And you don't want to miss an opportunity, no matter what it is.
And I wanted to push myself into something that seemed big and scary, because that's exactly right. That's where the growth is. But that fear was stopping me from doing anything else, because it was just overwhelming.
But I have to say, I got to look at your journey. You let me into that, from the beginning, and man, did you rise to the occasion.
Yes, you did.
Oh,
You really, really
Mairi.
did.
Thank you.
Without a doubt, you could have handled that if that's how it went, and you would have, and you wouldn't have said no, and and you would have made it work, and it would have been fantastic. So,
Mairi, what would you do differently? What are you going to do differently when opportunities like this come along?
Good question.
I think that's a great question, and I definitely have learned the lesson of one goal is just one piece of my existence in this world, and not to focus so much on that other things go by the wayside, and primarily my relationships, because I was really finding myself feeling so lonely. I cut myself off because I felt like this was not a thing that I could really talk about. There were other agents out in the waters that could have sniffed in my little shark pool and, could have come along. So I was very sort of tight-lipped about it. Only very close people to me knew. And I felt like I couldn't be honest with people all the time about what's going on with me, and that does not sit well.
Right, that's not you.
That's not me.
So you'll build some resources around you next time, right?
Yeah, and
you did.
I did.
But
more
I know
so.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
it
more
was
so.
very isolating, and you thought you had to protect it.
Yep.
Once either way that it went, it would have opened up that anyway.
No, you're absolutely right. But I can't let myself get into that sort of head down, it's only me mentality,
We succeed with each other.
Yeah, we do. We do. So this is why it was a good thing that I didn't get it, because I feel so much more connected to everybody again.
Yeah.
And it's
Did
been
we welcome
so
you
nice.
back?
We did. Oh my gosh.
sure did.
I was like, come in, come to the meeting, come to things.
It's brought little tears to my eyes every time I get on a morning call and people are happy to see my face. I was just telling our friend Linda yesterday, she was like, it's so good to see your face again. And And I was like, you know my name? Like, you know who I am? She's like, of course I know who you are. You're Mary the House Fairy. You know, it's surprising to me to know that people missed me in the first place, but it's really nice to feel. And so I'm back, baby.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, with that being said, I would say that our quote for the week should be,
All right.
Dun, 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 dun.
when one door closes, another one opens.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all of these doors really have started opening again. As soon as I closed that door, I just realized how many doors I had around me, and I just needed to go and open
And
them
I
back
do
up.
think that everything happens for a reason. I think also you have to be aware of your surroundings and what's going on and,
Yep.
and the opportunities that do present themselves every day that sometimes we miss and,
Yep.
you know, sometimes we don't.
Yep.
Well, the other thing too is we think there's only one door. And look at us around us. Doors open just every which way.
Yeah.
We just aren't
Yeah.
seeing that,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
the disappointment is real. We go through those stages of loss over a period of time, et cetera, and you will continue. But at the same time, there are so many doors.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that you are self-aware enough to know that there are lessons to be learned from everything, whether it goes your way or doesn't go your way.
I
And
think that's the business we're in, right?
Yeah.
In everything we do is there's something to grow from. And that's part of why I love it. It's not a stop. It's not, oh, you didn't get it. That's it. I quit my job. You know, it's just move on and learn.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, ladies, it's been so good to see
I
you.
know.
I've missed you
Yeah.
between
Missed you.
weather and illness
And Mary's mental illness.
which Mary is that now?
What is Mary? I know that's very general.
Sorry.
I'm like, what does she know? No.
Oh, I have to tell you guys, our interview with Nate Tello was really well received.
I know.
And he is doing so well with his new
So
gym.
happy.
Yeah, me
What a
too.
great guy.
And Mamie Parker just received another big award, and she just came back from being on the leadership of the Student Conservation Association, and she's, so the people we have interviewed are just rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
rocking
That's
and rolling.
so great. I'm so glad to hear. Go buy your
Me too.
seeds for those flowering plants that she promotes. and
Yes, that's
wants.
right.
Yeah.
That's lollipops. Yes,
Yes. All right, guys.
All right. Well, thanks for
Love you
joining
guys.
us. Love you,
Yeah.
ladies.
Thanks
Nick,
for-
thank you as always.
Yep.
Thanks for
Thanks,
bringing me
Nick.
through all these journeys. guys.
And stand by. We'll be there all the time.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mary, Mary, and Mary, so extraordinary. Well, now they're talking about houses, they're talking